Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Dark Rooms podcast. I am Psychic with Inky and underscore, and today we're going to be talking about Prankster. Finally, Ozone isn't here right now. We think he might have gotten lost on his way here.
He's late.
So we're just starting without him.
Probably out with oxygen,
and hopefully he'll join soon. So yes, how's it going, guys?
I'd say
Ozone
pretty good.
is freaking late.
Yeah, he is.
He'll find his way around eventually. So, I think we have 4 stories to cover, so let's just jump right in. So,
Right, we are also very late.
Yes.
Prankster came out
a month ago.
Yeah.
And my library took a very long time to get it to me, but I finished it in 2 days for the sake
Good job.
of this.
For the podcast. So,
for the podcast. That's right.
Let's start with
Prankster.
Prankster. Let's just start with the title one. So, before we get into a summary, I want to talk about the cover art. So, I feel like this one is kind of like Puppet Carver, where it's a little bit clickbait. What do you guys think about that?
I suppose that's kind of true. I suppose
Slightly.
Yeah.
Definitely not as bad as
Not as
Puppet
bad,
Carver.
but
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but there is like an animatronic in one of the doorways in the cover art, right?
Yes, I have the book
I don't
right
remember.
here. 2 of them actually. There are 2.
So is this like the I do think that the hallway looks kind of like the Curse of Dreadbear hallway.
Yes,
Remember that game mode?
Yes. And I think we've actually talked about this. How it's like the long hallway with Foxy and it's Bonnie and Chica on either side at the doorways.
Yeah. Nightmare Chica, Nightmare Bonnie.
Oh, Ozone's typing. Ozone's typing.
I do think it's less of clickbait.
Yes, definitely.
Because for one crucial two crucial reasons actually. Reason 1, there is a guy. He's there.
Yes.
And the main character is also a guy. He happens to be, probably him. And reason 2, there's a hallway. And spoiler alert, Prankster contains a hallway.
What?
Prankster
Really?
contains a hallway.
Okay, so do we want
This is devastating news. But yeah.
Okay, who wants to do the summary? We can all do one summary of this book. So who wants to do Prankster?
I have no idea.
You know what?
I need to think about what my summary should be for.
All right, I'll do Prankster. Okay, so listen, we got Jeremiah, and he works at a VR game studio. Just like Matt from In the Flesh, and yeah. So
and the FNaF VR.
In the Flesh wasn't VR, was it?
Yeah, it actually was.
In the Flesh was, yeah.
Oh, it was? Okay.
But not the part that everyone remembers about In the Flesh.
Yeah.
That was real.
So basically, he's working there, and he's kind of like sad because he's pretty lonely. He has his friends, but he's like, oh, they all have successful lives, and I'm just sitting here, and I'm just making games. But they're like, you have a good job. He's like, I don't have any friends, so he's all sad and mopey. But he has a crush on his coworker named Hope. And they make tons of jokes with that, because that's what everybody looks forward to in their FNaF stories. They like puns. They like name puns. It's like Tinder, but worse.
We love a
Tinder,
good
but
name.
worse.
So he goes to work, and they're working on a VR game for Five Nights at Freddy's, and they're like, oh,
wow,
we gotta. What could possibly go wrong? Nothing ever bad happens. So they're working, and Jeremiah's birthday's coming up. And he has this coworker named
I think it's Parker.
Parker. Yes, I knew that. So
Peter Parker.
Yes, his coworker is Spider-Man, and he's a big jerk. He's a big jerk. He
Bully
likes
McGuire. It's Bully McGuire.
Bully McGuire.
He likes to prank Jeremiah with doing lots of stuff. And it's been going on for a while. And normally, Hope just finds it funny, which really upsets Jeremiah. So basically, this day is kind of different. Parker gives Jeremiah one of those chips. Like, you know, like those chips you can buy where you get one chip and it's the hottest chip in the world?
The hot chip challenge?
Yes. Parker gives Jeremiah one of those. And Jeremiah
But
almost...
unwilling.
Yeah. Jeremiah almost dies because of it, right? He, like, starts choking and, like, his, like... I think it was, like, face swells or something. It was something, like, he was, like, actually not good. And Hope's like, wow, that's
he was
uncool.
not having a good time.
He's like, wow, that's uncool. So, Parker goes to see his friends, and they're chilling, and they're like, dude, just ask her out. Seriously, stop being a wimp. And he's like, fine, I'll do it. So the next day comes, he's gonna ask her out, but then Parker's like, yo, we want to test the VR game. Will you open up the testing room? And Jeremiah's like, fine, I'll go in. So they go in, and they're doing something mysterious. Like, they're like, what? And Jeremiah's like, what are they doing? And then they come out, and they're all like laughing, and they're all like, ha 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 ha. And Jeremiah's like, I'm gonna be sick. So he leaves.
Actual laughing recreation.
True. So Jeremiah leaves because he's not feeling good, because he's like, oh, were they making out or something? He goes home, and then doesn't he have a nightmare?
I don't recall.
Yeah, I feel like he had a nightmare, but I don't really remember it. I could be wrong.
Let me pull out the secret texts and skim them.
Skim them real quick. Skim them real quick.
Look at the wiki. Maybe I should pull up
just
the wiki.
keep going. Just keep going, and I'll try and find it.
All right, so basically, he goes to work the next day, and there is nobody. Nobody's around. So he looks around and he finds a birthday cake saying, "Happy birthday, Jeremy." Jeremy from FNaF VR? Jeremy from FNaF 2? We don't know. But what a weird coinky-dink. What a very peculiar coinky-dink. So he's like, okay, I get it. It's a surprise party. Where are you guys? And he's like, where is everybody? So he starts looking for them. But he's like, nah, Parker's just probably pulling a prank on me. So he goes to sit down at work when suddenly the intercom comes on. And it's like, Jeremiah, if you want to save your friends, play my game. And he's like, yeah, okay, buddy. I'll play your game. I'll play your little game. Why not? You're not funny, Parker, because he thinks it's Parker. And he's like, okay, go to here. I believe first he has to solve an anagram called Stinger Moot, which is testing room.
Yeah, I took the time to actually solve it. I didn't read the next paragraph, and I was like, okay, what is this gonna be?
See,
and I solved it, and then 2 sentences later it solves it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I actually found I thought it was gonna be monster or something, because the monster is a word that can be taken out, but I don't remember what the other one was. It's I don't remember exactly, but there was monster in there, and it was is it something to do with a monster? I don't know. So he goes to the testing room. He looks inside, and this is where it starts getting weird, right? What does he find first? See, I haven't read it.
He finds teeth.
He finds teeth, and he's like, "This is actually creepy. This isn't cool."
But they could be fake. They're probably
they could be fake,
teeth.
but
they're fake. Teeth.
And
alright, they're totally fake.
And the announcer guy comes on, and is like, smile wide. Show us those nice pearly teeth or something. He makes a joke about the teeth, and he's like, go to your next area.
Pearly whites?
Something like that. He goes to the next area, and there's a bunch of fingers. And one of them
not fingers yet, fingernails. It starts
fingernails, right?
Then fingers.
So he's looking.
There's
at
a progression to it.
And he's like, this is not cool at all. Please let this be fake. Goes to the next area, and then there's actually fingers, but one of them has Hope's ring on it, and he's freaking out.
He examines it, and and it's not Hope's finger though.
So he's like,
it's totally fake.
Okay, he's like, okay, it has to be fake. It has to be fake. So where does he go next? I actually don't remember. It's been a while.
Is it the eyeballs or the organs that come next?
It doesn't really matter. I think he goes to the next couple rooms, and he finds eyes and organs, and he's starting to really freak out now, because they look real, and he's like, oh, how'd they get the stuff? Did they get it from the hospital place, or did they? And he's just freaking out, and then he's like running around
From
trying.
Heracles Hospital.
I don't. Was it Heracles? I mean that's room in 1280.
No, that's a joke.
Okay.
I know that's a joke.
And then he
It's
finally
just
gets
pieces of the man in room 12.
he gets
Funny
to the
reference.
final room, and is it? Oh wait, no, he doesn't. Not yet. So he goes to the next room, and he finds Parker's cut off face.
Yep.
Which
reminds
me
me
of
of a certain Jeremy who might have lost his face too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's like, and this is like where he's like, okay, I'm done. He gets to the last room, and there's a little cassette player and a little tape and a little like monitor or whatever. So he puts it in, and he's like, okay, what is this? And then he sees a video of Hope and Parker. I believe they are in the testing room, and they're like, oh, okay, listen, here's the plan. We're gonna get all these fake stuff, and we're gonna prank him. We're gonna have him do like a little escape room. And he's like, and it's like, happy birthday. Hope you found this. And then
But then they get all like serious.
And they get all yeah.
Yep.
What happens?
It's like, Parker, give us a knock, and there's a knock in the closet.
Mm-hmm. And then it's like he turns and the door slowly opens, and that's the end.
End of story.
End of story.
Short but sweet.
Yes, I know Ozone has his strong opinions on the ending. I actually can pull. We actually talked about it, so I can pull it up real quick.
Interesting. Since he's not here, we can look at his opinions. But might I be the first to say that Jeremiah is down bad. He is simping crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like throughout the whole book, he will not shut up.
All right, so this is what Ozone had to say. He said, I'm not sure if I don't get it or if it's just really bad. Like, none of it is concluded, unless it's an Eleanor thing, but that makes zero sense. I was really excited for the story because it was another VR game story, and the setup was really good, but it just didn't make any sense, and the ending put it down massively. I also think it was very rushed because it's also sudden. So,
I disagree completely. I figured it out pretty soon after.
Would you like
my interpretation of Prankster?
Please give us your interpretation of the Prankster.
So, and it helps that the Ultimate Guide, like I guess spoiler for a leak, sort of implied that Glitch Trap is in Prankster.
Mm-hmm.
So that pretty much hinges everything.
Yeah.
But even if it didn't confirm that, I probably would have had this theory anyway. So obviously, they're working on FNaF VR. They are the company. They have the little thingies. Who knows? Hope might be Tape Girl. That would be an interesting connection.
Mm-hmm.
But so they're the studio, and we got the Jeremiah guy. It's pretty close to Jeremy. We got a face getting cut off. This is pretty clearly, if not the actual one, it's meant to parallel the VR company.
Definitely.
He's a parallel theorist.
And Parker and Hope go into the testing room to play the game. So obviously they get sniped by Glitch Trap, and
I don't think that's the proper
term. They get 360 no-scoped. Oh, baby, a triple.
Now, one of two things could happen here. Either they are manipulated by him, which is possible. In fact, that's probably how all the stuff got set up. He probably used them. But as far... obviously, there's a big scavenger hunt of organs and crap, which are pretty obviously Parker and Hope's by the end of it. But what Glitch Trap did, especially with the tape at the end is where I'll admit it gets a little confusing, but I'm pretty sure I figured it out. So essentially, when Hope and Parker were in the testing room, Glitch Trap had them record a little message to like, haha, pranked you, but it's like a prankception. It's a prank that it's a prank, because it's real. And either Glitch Trap got them to record that, or I'm thinking Glitch Trap like altered the footage. Like, he's a digital guy. It's possible that he could have just fabricated that entire thing.
I can see that happening.
And like he's portraying Hope and Parker.
Like a deep
but
fake.
Really, Yeah, like a deep fake, glitch trap deep fake with the tape.
Yeah.
So it's either that or he manipulated them into doing it because, like, reluctant follower, glitch trap infecting your mind and stuff, which is probably the more likely one. But essentially, then it's like, haha. So he comments, we might have to go to the hospital now, which, like, if it was a prank, it was like, haha, we're going to go pick up our supplies. Whereas in reality, it's, hey, Jeremiah, if they're still kicking, you got to take them to the hospital. So, and we get confirmation of that because Glitch Trap goes, Parker, give us a knock. And Parker and Hope, they're in the closet. Parker's missing a face and all sorts of things. So they're like, he's messed up. They're both messed up. But it seems that at least Parker's still alive in the closet. So essentially, Glitch Trap manipulated them, set up a big treasure hunt with their body parts, organs, eyes, fingers, etc. Chopped them up and locked them in a closet, and Jeremiah has found them. So on the bright side, they might still be alive. It sounds like Parker is, at least. Hope, who knows? But yeah, that's Prankster the way I saw it.
All right.
Yeah, they're not intact, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely not.
Although I think so. Glitch Trap obviously had no intentions of Jeremiah winning the game, but
Definitely
throughout
not.
the whole thing, he does reiterate that if he does it fast enough, his friends will still be alive. It's just how much of them will he find. So I think he wasn't lying there, because Jeremiah ultimately does finish the game, and it sounds like Parker is alive. So it's like, maybe he's like slightly a man of his word.
But was he like setting it up as they went? Was he like, oh,
probably not.
5 minutes down.
I think that part was
5 minutes down.
I think
time
he
to
had
cut
it all
off
set
their
up
hands
before. I think he had it all set up before, but making it sound like it was progression sort of gave him more of an ultimatum. So it's like, yeah, the mentality of it, it's complicated, but I think we've sort of cracked it.
Yeah, it's
that's
Glitch Trap.
Prankster.
It's Glitch Trap doing some birthday parties.
Yeah.
Could it also
Glitch
kind
Trap's
of be like
big
Pizza Maze? Because doesn't it
haha.
get like lost? Doesn't Jeremiah get lost? Could it be kind
of what's that mode called?
Pizza Party?
Birthday? Yeah, that one.
Maybe, although I think he got lost like trying to escape because he was done with it. So I don't know. Maybe, but
it's like,
honestly,
it's like running
Prankster,
around. Yeah, I think it
kind of a pretty simple story, I'd say.
Yeah, the reason I think Pizza Party is because like running around, like not going like in a straight. It's like going like from. It's like just going like all randomly, and then you end up at Glitch Trap, behind a curtain or behind a door.
So
that makes sense.
So what's interesting is that I know I don't want to really dive into the Freddy Files too much, but since each story got a page, there's some things that Scott has highlighted for us to look at.
Interesting.
Which I have pulled up right now.
Okay. I'd say
a
sure.
Prankster analysis.
All right, so it's all the sections called new leads, and one of these is more important than the other, I think. The first one is about the unnamed game master with the kind of deep electronic voice filter kind of thing going on.
Which is Glitch Trap.
Yeah. The second, though, is called meta-story clues, and it's some of the puzzle clues, such as Stinger Moot and even more frights, may have implications beyond the plot. Careful readers may want to give these a second look.
So Psychic might have been onto something with the monster thing. Like the anagram could have like multiple. The anagram could have multiple solutions.
And even more frights.
Even more frights sounds like Tales from the Pizzaplex.
Yeah.
Here,
it does, basically.
I'm pulling up like the monster thing. So MONSTER.
That's cool that that it's almost like Glitch Trap has broken the fourth wall. Like he's talking to us as the audience now. With giving those clues.
It could be I got monster.
I got monster. It's Pokemon. I got monster. I caught him. I caught Glitch Trap.
Glitch Trap. It just loves energy drinks.
I got monster. the clue is literally Glitch Trap telling us he went to the store and picked up monster.
Yeah.
He needs his energy after all.
All right. Do we want to move on to Kids That Play?
Sure.
Kids That Play. What a story. That's That's a fun one.
So Okay.
Wait, so who's doing the summary for this one?
I did the first one, so it should be one of you two. Um.
I'm a I'm gonna be honest. I have not. The only one of that book that I read was Prankster.
All right.
Okay, I mean, I can handle both of the other
I
ones.
kind of started
I can
to
do.
fall off.
I can do the last one. I can do the last one, but I really want Inky to do Kids at Play.
I really fell off the Fazbear Frights trend after the Cliffs. I think it all just went downhill from there.
I see. I mean,
Momentum.
I don't blame you. The Cliffs was kind of bad.
It wasn't specifically the Cliffs. It was just there was so many coming out. The momentum.
That's fair too. Unfortunately, they did get a lot better after Cliffs, so you're missing a little bit, but
I'll read them someday.
So, Kids at Play. This is a story. Oh boy.
Boy. Kids at Play. That was actually a really interesting one. Even though I haven't read it, I know some stuff in it. I think it's cool.
It's something. So this one was the one, if I remember correctly, we were like, this wasn't the one we were most excited about, but it's the one we knew the absolute least about, which was kind of exciting because we're like, where is this gonna go? Gardening. That's all we knew.
I love Kids at Play.
Really, you really love this story?
I love the story.
And I think it's pretty interesting.
I'll explain it.
I haven't figured out how I feel about it yet. So let's get started. So we've got Joel. Joel is, you guessed it, a scumbag protagonist, everybody.
Whoop whoop.
And we know how I feel about those. If they're done well, they're done well, and if they're not, they are definitely not. And I will say, if Matt from In the Flesh is good scumbag protagonist, and Chris from He Told Me Everything is literally garbage scumbag protagonist, Joel is like a solid middle. He's like right in the middle of those. What was interesting about him is that you could sometimes understand his perspective, but you could also understand everyone else saying like, bro, just what are you doing? Stop complaining. Like, you got to do a little work here and there. You got some responsibilities. Be happy for what you have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do see a lot of things from Joel's perspective. So some things that he takes as unfair are like, yeah, that kind of sucks a little bit. So I see what you're saying, but still. So essentially, he's like he's literally the middle ground. And we see the story through his eyes. He tries to leave work early from gardening land, Gardentopia, and his dad gets mad. He fires him. His dad is like this like famous dude in the town, and Joel is just he hates everything essentially. He's having a bad day every day, all the time, 24/7, and he wants to escape to California and become a music man. He wants to become a music man.
No.
With his buddies, and he plays with his buddies. He does gosh, what does he do? He does drums, right?
Yeah, he's a drummer, I believe.
Yeah, he's the drums, but he also plays guitar, and he wants to make guitar music that breaks the mold and talks about how he's restricted and emo and edgy and hates life. But
so
his
basically
friends,
normal
even his
emo.
friends,
Yep.
yeah. But even his friends go like, dude, just be happy you've got that job, because he did get it back after like fake apologizing. But you know, he's got a truck. Joel has a truck, and he goes fast in the truck. He really likes going fast in the truck.
Speedster.
And yeah, he's zooming.
Speedster,
and the truck.
Prankster.
Yeah, Speedster. We got Prankster, Speedster, and what would the equivalent for Fun Player 2
We'll
be?
figure that out later.
Like,
we'll figure it out.
Deserter.
Anyways.
So Joel, one day he's schmoovin', he takes a turn really, really fast, and he hits this thingy. And he's like, what the heck is the thingy? And it's a tiny man. Hello, tiny man. Why are you tiny? And it's this yellow thing. It's like a yellow little safety statue. It's like Kids at Play. It's like
you guys have seen those before, right?
Yes.
I don't think I have.
Really?
I was trying to picture them. I mean, Maybe if I saw one,
Here,
I
I'll
would
go.
think it
I'll
would
pull the
all
picture.
come flooding back.
Yeah, I'll get a picture,
Uh,
or I'm sure we'll get a picture. Well,
in
Inkyink
my
can
area, we
you
just
should
have
probably pull one
signs.
up.
We just have signs. We don't have little tiny men to tell us what to do. Uh,
take- we don't. We don't have tiny
so it's a
men
little,
telling us what to do. Bravo.
it's a little guy. He's a little yellow guy with an orange hat, and he's got a sign that says "Kids at Play," and he's like, "Haha, it's stupid because they told me to go slow." But where he hit it, it's like there's like gunk leaking out, and he's like, "That's kind of weird. I'm gonna go home."
Of
And
the kid thing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, gunk starts leaking out of it, so that's gonna be important later. Because once we find out where these things are from and what they do, it all starts to make sense.
Uh,
But he goes home. Life continues to suck, and he finds another of the thingies. It's a cereal toy too. It's like, what is this doing in my cereal? What are the odds of that? Ha 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 ha. Let me like leave it here because I don't want it because it's creepy.
So Inky,
Um,
wait, I'm gonna pause you right there. When
yeah,
I
no,
was
show me the tiny man.
when I was reading this story, um, actually I was listening to Ozone's audiobook, and when I got to this point, I messaged Ozone and said, right now, I love Kids at Play because if the most FNaF thing about it is Fazbear Faz Crunch cereal, that's freaking hilarious.
oh my gosh.
And you're almost right
Exactly.
because that is almost the only thing. So we have another story that has almost nothing to do with FNaF, which of course I'll get into afterwards. So yeah, he goes to bed. I actually don't remember exactly the middle of the story, so we're going to cut to jam session. Woo, yeah,
Jam
hanging
session?
out with friends. And he has to leave early, and he gets mad at his friends because they're telling him to not be angry at the world.
Thanks.
And he's zooming again. Where will he go? What will he do? Home and sleep, probably. And there's a slight issue, slight problem with his little plan of, casual existence. There is a child in the road, and he's schmoovin'. He skids, and bonk, kid go zoom.
I don't think kid go bonk.
Kid go
Okay, probably
wham.
more like kid
Kid
go
go
boom, boom, boom.
I just posted a picture of
So,
one of the things in chat.
I mean that's kind of similar, but the
No,
story
that's-
sort of implied that it was 3-dimensional. With
These
like
are
a face.
basically the real world equivalent
Yeah,
of those.
it's
Okay.
it's
I see.
real world. We ain't canon to FNaF, Inky. Don't remember that one Scott post? We aren't canon.
Oh yeah. We aren't canon. Okay, so now I have a little equivalent of what I see it now. It's all coming together. Tiny men are flooding my brain. And so yeah, where were we? Yes, child. He's gone. He's flying. He's out of here. And Joel is like, "Oh crap! I just hit a child."
Just hit a kid, feeling good.
You've been hit by.
you'd
You've been struck by truck.
I mean, yeah, that is what happened. But he's like having a panic attack. He's like, "Do I go check on the kid? Is he dead?
Go
Who
poke him.
knows?" Instead, I think I will zoom away and go to sleep. So he does that. Not a second thought to the child. Actually, a lot of second thoughts to the child, but he doesn't go. And he can barely get to sleep. In fact, he doesn't really, but he does eventually. I'm contradicting myself. But he wakes up, he has to go to work, da-da-da-da-da. He can't stop thinking about the child. He and his dad are picking up donuts, and Donut Lady, sadness. Donut Lady is crying, and Joel is like, uh-oh, could this have to do with child that I struck last night? And it does, because Donut Lady is grandmother of Missing Child. Missing Child goes on adventures in the midnight hours, and apparently gets hit by trucks. And so the police are searching, everyone's searching. Joel's dad is like, we're gonna help out in the search. They go to like a Home Depot. I don't remember why, but there's the kids that play statues. Oh no, they're following him. He hears
I
tap
believe
tap
they go.
footsteps.
I believe they go to the Home Depot to get stuff for their shop. Like.
That
Oh no no
makes
no no no
sense.
no no no! They go there to get stuff to build like a little command center. I think it was something like that.
Oh, do they?
It was to build
Okay.
something.
Well, they go to Home Depot, and there are tiny men there too. So Joel is starting to get real freaked out about how many tiny men there are in his vicinity, and he is feeling guilty, kind of, but he's like, do I go check on if he's alive? Do I, like, quote unquote find him?
Yeah.
What if the kid's alive and he tells me, and he tells them that I hit him with a truck? You know, he's not doing well. He's like gone into full self-preservation mode, but like all the bad ways, all the bad reasons, because he's not taking responsibility for, you know, hitting a child at midnight with a truck. And he hears the tap tap footsteps of the tiny man, and he's really freaking out. And you know, he goes along with his day. They haven't found the kid. He doesn't want to go near the place where he hit the kid because he knows he's probably gonna find the kid. So he goes to bed. But then he wakes up. Or does he? Because he didn't want to wake up. And then he sits up, but he didn't want to sit up. And he's like, "Uh-oh, this is kind of bad."
Inky, you forgot.
So for the next,
you
like,
you forgot something.
oh, did I?
When he gets home.
Oh, that's right. The little tiny man.
Yeah, he found
tiny man was on his desk.
Yeah, he found the cereal toy in his desk.
Tiny man.
Tiny man.
Tiny, minuscule man, tinier man.
Minuscule man.
Minuscule man.
Anyway, he like breaks it apart and then goes to sleep.
Yeah, that's what he does. He smashes it, destroys it. He has a irrational hatred for tiny men.
Tiny man.
But he wakes up and he starts moving, but he's not moving. Something's moving him, and he's like a puppet essentially. For the next few pages, I'm not exaggerating there. This does take a very long time to get to the point. But he's walking, but he's not walking. You know, he's being puppeted.
Mm-hmm.
Where is he going? He doesn't know. We don't know. But I mean, we do kind of know. You know.
Ooh, I'm getting. Inky's talking. I'm getting some theories, but you continue before.
Oh.
You continue, Inky.
So he's walking. He's schmoving. And eventually he finds himself at the spot where he hit the kid. And at this point, I was thinking, like, I see where this is going. The dead child has possessed him. After he also possessed the tiny men, and he's driven him. He's walked him around. He's walked him to the spot, and now another truck is going to hit him, and it's going to be like, you know, justice or something. That's where I thought it was going. But that's not where it goes. It takes a bit of a turn.
Yep.
Because his teeth start falling out. And he's like, oh, this is weird.
That's not
then,
supposed to happen.
Yeah, that's not a normal human function. And then his like
then like one
hair
falls
out.
No, one falls back in his throat, and it's like
Yeah.
he's choking, but he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, because he can't move. All he can do is think and see and hear and see, and oh no, he can no longer see. His eyes are on the floor. And he hears them fall to the floor because he still has ears. Nope, no, he doesn't. Ears gone. Now he can only feel as his skin slowly falls off. You know, yeah, it's a pretty you know, heavy read, kind of disturbing content. You know,
takes me back to Pizza Kit.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not quite Pizza Kit levels, but it's pretty close. And essentially, he's starting to lose his consciousness. That's the last thing that goes, and the book is like, the person that was Joel ceased to be. Which was, I mean, that was kind of cool. I mean, like, the words, not that he, you know.
He kind of just stopped being existing. That's kind of cool.
He stopped existing, you know.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean...
It's just a casual Tuesday. Casual Tuesday night, just stop existing.
Casual Tuesday turning into Tiny Man, because that's what happened! We cut to the police guy, and he drives up, and there's a new Tiny Man, but he's looking kind of weird. He's like a
contorted,
deformed Tiny Man. He's all squishy and weird, but he did become a tiny man. The transformation was complete. But
I'm only now picking up on the point that he became one of those things.
Yep.
yeah,
Probably because I didn't read it.
but essentially his all his stuff is still on the ground next to him. So the police officer's like, okay, that's kind of weird. Ever since I've been seeing a lot of these ever since they showed up from Fazbear Entertainment, and it's like, oh, it's all coming together. It makes sense now. It's like Lonely Freddy kind of, but not. And then he hears the child, and the child is alive, and child is saved. Child go home, and Joel is dead.
Joel is
Child
now
be
Tiny
happy.
Man.
Joel has taken his rightful place as Tiny Man. So that's Kids at Play.
Yeah.
That's it. It's a weirder one. It's one of the weird
is.
ones.
Again, I have the new leads pulled up.
So
The page.
Ozone said, I didn't like Kids at Play, LMAO. I'm getting ready to be the critical one after I said Inky's in for a treat, because I was like, oh, it's going to be like He Told Me Everything, but again. But as you were saying this, Inky, I had a theory about this being like a puppet parallel. Because you have one kid hurting another kid, causing them to be in danger. And then, like, this protector thing becoming, like, the main focus. So, like, the puppet or the Kids at Play thing. But, I mean, it's not perfect. Obviously, Joel doesn't become, or the bully that pushed Charlie outside didn't become the puppet. But it's just interesting.
I can't find any good parallels for this one, in all honesty.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's weird. At the end of it, I did get He Told Me Everything vibes, but much like Puppet Carver, I think this took now controversial opinion. Somewhat like Puppet Carver, but to a more, a better degree. I think this took what the basic premise of He Told Me Everything was and made it better.
Okay.
We still have the scumbag protagonist.
So
we still have this strange new force, which is the Tiny Men. We still have it like, oh, he gets what he deserves. But this story definitely, because of the sympathetic nature that we sometimes get from Joel, we sometimes see things from his point of view. We get a lot more time to bond with him slightly. Bond in quotation marks, because he's still kind of a trash guy. We get more time to do that. So the real defining factor is that when it was going into all his his anxiety, his guilt, all these thoughts racing through his mind, and ultimately his fate, I felt something. I felt stressed. A good Fazbear Fright story makes me feel uncomfortable. Room for One More made my throat hurt, is the example I usually use.
Yes.
This one made me feel like, oh, this guy's having a bad day. Like, I really felt his stress. So even that alone puts it leagues above He Told Me Everything. I haven't quite figured out where I'm gonna put it on my tier list, but
so Inky,
it's a weird one. It's a story.
So so there's 4 main body switch stories, which would be He Told Me Everything, Sea Bonnie's, Puppet Carver, and this one. How would you rank those 4?
What about Lonely Freddy?
I'm talking more like your actual body, actually transforming into something.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I get that.
How would you rank them?
So, how would I rank
the
them?
Fazgoo stories?
The Fazgoo stories, essentially. So all of them are Fazbear Entertainment. At this point, I think Fazbear Entertainment has a research and development wing in their company.
Oh yeah, R&D.
R&D, just they think up the weirdest crap and put it out there, and it starts killing people. We've got the Fazgoo, we got the Sea Bonnies, we got the Kids at Play. What are they on in those labs? I want to know.
So it's a Fazbear Entertainment sponsored public safety initiative.
Yeah. And apparently it steals your body.
I truly love Fazbear Entertainment being in charge of the safety initiative.
It's incredibly ironic because,
everything about them screams not liable.
Yeah. And the thing about the Tiny Men is that, they're really genius, you know that? Because they can save on production materials because all you need to do is
Have a
the
bad
people
driver
who
hit
go
it.
too fast. Yeah, if a bad driver hits it, they become Tiny Man, and we sort of get that implication because when he hits the initial kids that play statue, it starts leaking weird stuff.
Could that be the blood of a
Which is
past victim?
it was probably the innards of some other dude. So the Tiny Men are literally tiny men.
Oh,
They're just normal men.
But
Transformed.
anyways,
this is totally a weird conversation. This is totally not a weird conversation at all.
we're talking about Fazbear
It's
Frights
FNaF,
underscore. This
it's
was
FNaF, come on.
expected.
All right, underscore. What is the
So psychic,
what does the ultimate guide say about this story?
All right.
and then after that,
new
we can get to my
leads-
ranking that you
Oh yeah,
wanted,
okay,
Psychic.
yeah.
So for new leads, kids at play figures, nothing much. Something about the cereal box, but yeah, for some reason he actually really calls out this cereal box, being that the Freddy Fazbear themed cereal box is something that Joel's been eating for a number of years.
Okay, so I have an idea from
It
that.
doesn't have many big leads, but basically the initiative to do safety in the box. That's about it.
Okay, so yeah, I think I get what he's saying there. Now, it's gonna sound crazy, guys, but hear me out.
Like any of this isn't crazy.
Yeah.
So it points out that he's been eating it for years.
Yep.
All right.
A number of years.
Hear me out, guys. Fazbear Entertainment is drugging children through cereal and priming them to become tiny men.
No.
Think about it. He only got possessed, quote unquote, after he broke the cereal toy. What if the cereal toy released something into the air and he like breathed it in, or maybe it released like some particles that like
Dude,
got into him?
Don't make me say it. Don't make me say it.
Inky?
Faz gas.
Gas.
No!
No!
Inky, I'm warning you. Don't continue with this theory.
Faz gas, Inky. You thought you hated Fazgoo? Just wait.
Don't say it, Inky.
Listen.
Don't say
Make
it.
you suffer.
I think this is what it's going for here.
I think. What?
He's been removed from the group.
Did you kick him?
I kicked him here. I'll get him back in. Oh my gosh. There we go. Oh. Oops. My bad.
Listen, you know what they say, geniuses are never appreciated for after their time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's okay. All jokes aside, though, I think the cereal toy being broken did trigger whatever happened to Joel taking place.
Also, probably same thing with the goop that leaked out of the thing he hit with his
Mhm.
car.
But essentially, the big takeaway is Fazbear Entertainment is turning reckless drivers into tiny men. That's essentially all we need to know from the story.
All right.
Kinda, it really calls me back to an idea I had about how, remember the Foxy from, which was it? What story was that?
Step closer.
The Foxy
Step Closer?
animatronic.
Step closer.
Step Closer, yeah. It was the idea that was actually Faz and kind of punishing bad people.
Can I say step
Yeah,
closer?
they have the R&D. They have the R&D department, and then they have the arcane magic department.
Yeah, yeah. That one seemed more like a curse. Even the Freddy Files called it out as more of a curse.
Step Closer is the only Fazbear Fight story that's title doesn't really match the story.
Which one?
Step Closer.
Step closer.
I mean, oh, that's fair actually.
Like everything
It's
else.
getting steps closer to death.
I don't know. All right, so do we want to move on to Find Player 2?
Well, you wanted my ranking of the.
Oh,
of the
right.
sort
I
of
forgot about
weird,
that. Go for that.
Oddball stories. Okay. I think it's pretty easy. I gave it some thought. Last place. You know it. You love it. He told me everything.
I do love it.
Easily still trash.
Easily.
Step up from that is Puppet Carver. It took some of the concepts of He Told Me Everything and made it a little better, but still felt like half of a story and didn't really do much. Then, above that, I'm going to put Kids at Play. It was not bad. It was strange, weird, completely unrelated to many things, but not bad. And then Sea Bonnies is easily at the top. I actually kind of really liked Sea Bonnies for some reason.
I guess also Gumdrop Angel. It's also kind of one of those stories.
Could you repeat that?
Gumdrop Angel, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if we were putting Gumdrop Angel in here too, it'd be on par with Sea Bonnies, if not better.
All right, I think we should move on to the final one, and yeah. All right, so here we go. Find player 2. So we got 2 friends who have names.
Yeah.
Does someone want to pull up their names for me?
I know their names. I know their names.
It was Amy was one of them. It was Amy and
Mary Jo.
Mary Jo. So we got Amy and Mary Jo, and they're friends, and it's the normal Fazbear fight setup where one of them's like nerdy and the other one's not, and they're friends, but the not nerdy one is kind of like, oh, I'm kind of sick of you. You know, it's the thing you see. We saw it in Pizza Kit. We saw it in Too Beautiful.
Yeah, it's the classic. It's the classic.
It's a classic cliche. So they're at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Like you could say it's a true classic.
It is a true classic. So they're at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and they're chilling, and they're just like, okay, we're bored. What do we want to do? And Mary Jo's like, let's go to the hide and seek area. And Amy is like, okay. So they go, and then it tells the story about how there's a secret game in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that only the strong can know. It's like it's like they tell a story about how like some kids they had known previously had like initiated them into this game. Basically,
yeah, this was a really cool concept.
More like a cult.
Yeah.
Yes. Basically, you plug in your names. There's one hider, one seeker. The hider hides in a room, and then the seeker has to go and open like a bunch of doors to try to find the seeker or to find the hider.
And all these in this network of tunnels
that like weave through the pizza place, like through the walls and stuff. It's actually a really cool concept. Like,
I really liked it.
I would have ate that up as a kid. Like, oh, this is awesome. So, Mary Jo switches it up because normally, wait a minute, isn't Amy the one that likes to read, and Mary Jo's like the
Yes, Amy is the one
right.
that likes to read.
My bad, I messed it up. So Amy is like the nerdy that likes to read, and she always likes hiding because she just gets to sit there and read while Mary Jo gets to run around looking for her. But Mary Jo's like, no, I want to hide today, and Amy's like, what? Fine. So Amy goes in.
Big mistake.
Big mistake. So they go in. And Mary Jo picks a room to hide in.
Now, I think you did.
I did forget one. I just remembered that I forgot a spot. So before they go in the game, they turn around and they see a very creepy guy standing there.
And I go,
his name.
We don't know it yet.
Fine.
But I remember going like, oh, it's him. It's the guy.
It's him.
It's your boy. It's your boy.
It's the big purple.
It's the big purple boy. So Mary Jo looks at me, and Mary Jo like screams at him like, "Hey, what do you want? Yeah, that's what. Yeah, stop staring at me, my friend. What do you? I'm gonna beat you up." And the guy walks away. So they enter the game. Mary Jo hides, and Amy's looking around. She's not really trying. She's like kind of like, you know, half-assing it. She's like, "Oh, where are you?" And then she turns around, and the guy's there again. Staring.
He's in the tunnel. Yeah.
He's in the tunnel staring at her. And she's just like, nope. And she just nopes out of
yeah,
it.
essentially.
She runs away. And Mary Jo is never seen again.
Yep.
So it cuts
at this point, we're all thinking like,
William.
Missing children.
So it gets like 10, 15 years later.
Years. Yep.
Amy is now in college.
It's a big time skip.
Yeah.
It's a time skip.
Yeah. So Amy's now in college, and she's never really gotten over Mary Jo, because Mary Jo disappeared. She was never seen again. And she's like, oh, I should have found my friend. It was that guy. And she gets a call from her mom saying, hey, remember that guy who killed Mary Jo? And she's like, yeah, well, and her mom's like, yeah, he's out of jail.
Out of out of jail for attempted kidnapping of a different child.
Yeah.
And we also learned there that his name is Emmett Tucker, so it's not William Afton. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
So
Emmett Tucker.
So Amy's like, okay, I gotta find Emmett Tucker and find out what happened to my friend, because it's been haunting her for like the past, it's been haunting her for like the past decade, because that would haunt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets home. One of her college buddies offers to go with her, but she's like, no, I gotta do this myself.
Big mistake.
Big mistake. So she basically stalks Tucker, and she like stalks him until she finally has him go home, and then she's like, okay, I found his house. Time to initiate my super brilliant plan. She goes up to him like, hey, are you a murderer?
Yeah.
She's like, hey, are you a murderer? And he's like, no, I'm not.
Top.
And she's like, she has like pepper
right
spray and all this, and like a taser, and doesn't he say something like, come inside and I'll tell you everything or something like that? So you're like, oh,
No, he just wants to sit down on the porch and talk for a little bit.
oh yeah, I get, but I feel like he says come inside for like one time he says.
Oh yeah, he did offer for her to come inside first, but she refused.
Duh. Yeah, and so they're sitting, and he's like, I didn't do it. It's like he basically explains, I was there looking for my daughter, and he's like, oh, my dumb wife got custody and blocked me from ever seeing her. It's stupid. It's BS. So I was looking for her. And I was looking for her in the tunnel.
We got a twist.
And Amy's like, I don't believe you. I don't. And she's like, and then like she like attacks him. She like attacks him, and like he like fights back, and then she tases him. So he
dodges the taser.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, he dodges the taser. He actually wins the fight and locks her in his bathroom.
Right, he wins the fight and locks her in the bathroom, and so he's like, Jeez. And like Amy realized, I could get arrested. Yeah, I could get arrested for assault, which she should. So she escapes.
She did kind of just try and tase this guy.
Yeah, yeah, for no reason. So she escapes, and then she heads to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza to find some answers. But it's not. It's no longer Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. It's kind of like an Into the Pit situation where it's Freddy's but not Freddy's. Like, it's a new establishment has taken over what was once Freddy's.
Oh no! I just thought of something because of that.
Oh.
So she sits down.
Keep going, yeah.
And doesn't she get served by someone named Mary? I think she does.
Yeah, it was a small little.
And I was like, is that her friend? They just like don't recognize each other, and like she just like skipped town, then came back. So that was like my first thought. But then she's like, I gotta find.
That's her first thought as well. But then she sees her and is like, no, it's not Mary Jo.
Yeah. So she's like, okay, I gotta find the tunnel. So she sneaks off, and she finds the tunnel. So she goes in and she's like, wait a minute. Wait, look at why? And it's the same game that was set up before, kind of like hide and seek. When like he goes back and it's still his game. No one has played it since. No one
finished the game.
No one finished the game. So she resets it, and then she gets let in. She becomes a seeker again. Or does she become a hider? She's one of the two. She
just resumes the game, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But then she gets tired of searching and resets it.
Yeah. So all the doors open. She's looking around, and she walks into a room, and the door closes. And then Freddy comes on the speaker and is like, find player 2. So she can't open the door. So when you're a hider, you can't open the door.
Oh.
She turns around and sees...
And across the hall,
there's a skeleton clutching a backpack full of Mary Jo's items. She died scared and alone, waiting for her friend.
Because she never came and found her.
Because she never came and found her.
Exactly. Amy screams. Amy screams for help.
That's actually kind of unsettling.
Amy screams for help, but the diner's too loud for anyone to hear her.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
The end.
I like how Underscore's reaction was just, that is kind of upsetting.
Yeah, it's actually insanely upsetting. So,
how do we feel?
How you feeling
about this story?
How you feeling, Underscore? How you feeling?
Oh, I don't like that one at all. Takes me back to 1:35 a.m. where she gets perma stuck in the vents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see that. I've got a lot to say about this one, and I'm excited to.
Go
but
for it.
Before we do that, you bringing up the theme of like other restaurants being like built over Freddy's
Oh, security
gave me
breach?
an idea. No, and I know it's sort of it's a debated idea. And I'm just putting this out there. I'm not saying I believe it or otherwise, but if I remember correctly, the only time we've seen like an establishment that is implied to be some kind of food place that isn't Freddy's was Junior's. Is it possible that Junior's was built over a pre-existing location?
I could.
Maybe.
See, but the thing with that is, we see Junior's after Charlie's death.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's very early on the timeline, so
Yeah.
It's probably not
it's just an
Junior's,
idea.
yeah.
It's just an idea that I'm putting out there.
I really wanted to say that Junior's was a Freddy's, but it's probably just a bar.
That's like the
Wait.
one we just need to solve. That's like one thing we just need to solve because it's like one of the biggest like unsolved things.
I also don't quite understand why people think it's a bar. Like, I'm down for the idea, but I don't see what evidence there is for it. All we know is that it is a location that William is denied access to for an unknown reason.
It was the idea that Charlotte's murder was both a drunk decision and grieving the death of Elizabeth.
Wait, did Elizabeth die first?
I'm assuming she's like one of the first deaths.
We don't know, but
it's an assumption.
We can talk about that when we talk about the Ultimate Guide next week.
Yep.
So what do we think about what's it called? What do we think about Find Player 2?
Find Player 2. I love this story.
Super unsettling.
So much.
I hate
it's a good one.
I love this one so much for so many different reasons. And I get I get your reaction because you're just Ozone.
Ozone, hey.
So FNaF AR, am I right?
No.
So Ozone, you're actually just in time. We're talking about our thoughts on Find Player 2, and then we're gonna move on to Stitch Wraith 11.
So underscore, I get your reaction because you're just hearing the events, but like reading through it is such a roller coaster because they throw so many twists. Like, you start out thinking, oh, this is an MCI story. There's William Afton. Here are the kids. Maybe this is going to be like The Puppet because it talks about the alleyway. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, boom, 10 years later. It's like, wow, that felt really cinematic. They don't usually do time skips like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, now you've got this murder mystery, essentially. Like, I'm going to find out why that guy killed Mary Jo and where she is.
I love murder mysteries.
Mysteries are great.
And we find out it's not William Afton, obviously, which was like, it was a twist. I wouldn't say it was disappointing. I was like, that's interesting. So then we get the twist, once again, that he didn't do it. So there's another twist. He was a red herring. So any predictions you had for this story are probably out the window by now. And so she goes there, and not only is like the secret network of tunnels as like a hide-and-seek game like really cool, but the mechanics of it are well explained early on, and they're seeded throughout, so that when the reveal happens that the game never ended, you sort of get an idea like, interesting. And it explained how like half of the doors close when someone hides, and the other half stays open, so that you aren't searching through every single door.
Yeah, that's such a good setup.
And yeah, exactly. They use that because not only is it like a realistic and believable like game mechanic for like a hide and seek game, but they use it for the reveal that Mary Jo was trapped, because Amy went into the opposite one, the one that was open, and the one that was closed across the hall when she reset the game opened, because now she was in the other one, and so she got a good look right at Mary Jo's mummified corpse.
Oh,
clutching the bag of her objects because she was a foster kid, and she had a bag so she could leave at any time. So like her only happy memories, and she was clutching them as she died.
Yeah, I hate the concept of that being like There's no way that nobody's checked that game
Oh.
in like 10 years. The negligence.
No,
See-
they account for that too.
Because remember,
Even
this is a
10 years
hidden
ago-
game. Remember,
It's
she
a-
got
like-
orientated into the game. Remember, not everybody.
Yeah, but I know it's a hidden game, but like you'd think at least employees would know.
I'm getting to that. It was abandoned.
Oh,
It was
Ah.
it was like an out of order kind of game, but it was still working, and the kids would play with it. It explained that it was like not cleaned at all. It was trash everywhere in the little corridors. Like
Yeah, I hate
nobody
that.
checked it, and they were the last people to play.
I
So
hate that so much.
so we've got the twist. We've got like the big setup. Like, ooh, it's William Afton. Big twist. No, it's not. Wow. The setup. Here's how the game works. Biggest twist of the story, and like one of the biggest in the series. Amy killed Mary Jo,
Yeah.
and now she has to die the same way she did.
Oh, I hate that
It-
a lot.
Like it, you
I
hate
like
it.
that.
You hate it, and it's so good.
Yeah. So.
She deserves death.
Ozone is good.
So Ozone, real quick. I've been explaining like what we talked about when I was reading through the stories and your thoughts. Have your thoughts changed at all on the prankster or kids at play? 'Cause I remember you said that you didn't like either
those
of them.
two. I don't know. I don't know what you guys were talking about with Prankster, but I felt it was very I feel like it was kind of
Unfinished.
not unfinished, but it just
It was a
didn't
bit
really.
messy.
Unsatisfying.
It was very messy, yeah. Unsatisfying, that's a good word for it. And Kids at Play was kind of... It was just a bit all over the place as well, I think.
It was very strange.
But I did like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I did
My
like
favorite
Fine
is
Player 2.
definitely Fine
And-
Player 2, even if I hate
Yeah,
it
yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
And I've
It's
heard
just
a lot of
unstable.
people say that this is the worst story because they're expecting it to be an MCI story or
That's
whatever.
That's just-
stupid.
That's their
But-
fault.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's good
see,
subverting
I
expectations.
said it once, I'll say it a billion times. If you go into these stories for lore, you will come out upset.
Exactly.
If you go with an open
Also, if
mind
you go,
and
if you
you
go
want
in
a good
expecting
story,
something,
yes, you will be upset. If you go in like, hey, this could be a good story, you're gonna have a good time with these books. Like these are well written stories, bar one. And like they're all really good, bar one. And it's just like people going like, oh, like they dropped off after book 5. It's like, no, they were all really good.
I don't
bar
think they
one.
did at all.
Yeah, me neither. I think the lowest point was book 7, but it went up ever since.
Yeah.
So, do you want to hear about the new leads?
Yes, please.
Oh yeah, for Fine Player 2.
One
His
of them,
Ultimate Guide.
one of them just describes the game itself, which I don't know if that's important enough. But the second one is actually on Emmett Tucker, and I actually don't want to throw him out just this quickly. I want to actually say, is Emmett Tucker the name of the person who was convicted in the FNaF 1 newspapers?
Ooh.
Ooh.
So you're
Someone
saying
was
that,
convicted. Remember?
Oh yeah.
so the possible lore implications we could get from Fine Player 2 is maybe that William framed someone else for the MCI.
As in a hypothetical Emmett Tucker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I'm
that-
going for.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea.
I like that actually. I like that. I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I think it's a really good idea.
All right. I think it's time we move on to the big one.
You got enough time left?
Oh, we have all the time.
I
in the
mean,
world.
I don't think there's too much to say
Yeah.
about it.
I mean,
other than just a
Well, you
summary
could
and-
say it, or you could save it for an ultimate Stitch Wraith video. You know there's some big things we got to talk
I
about
don't
when
know
it comes
about
to the Stitch Wraith.
I feel like we should at least.
I think we can at least
like,
we can
summarize
at least
it,
summarize and
because
and
it
give
gives
our
our
I think this
thoughts.
can be a mega video.
this.
It could be a big mega video.
Yeah. So
Also, did you guys see Oxygen earlier? If you come by.
no.
No, we assumed she was with
you were
you
with her.
because you took so long to get here.
Oh damn it! I missed her.
Oof.
Interesting.
All
Where you
right.
been?
Stitch Wraith 11.
I made a roast.
A roast.
A roast dinner, yeah. It's great.
Nice.
Good for you.
No, you made another diss track. We're bringing that up again.
Oh boy, the
Yum yum potato.
What the?
Okay, so so first of all, I know we had like our worries about will the Stitch Wraith 11 have like a good like fight scene, or will it be like Afton where it's like it was
Satisfying
done?
conclusion.
Yeah, well, was it done too quickly? So before we get into like a summary, right now, would you say that this was done good? Was this a good ending to the Stitch Wraith?
I liked it. I think it was a good finale.
It was a good finale.
Ozone?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were so conflicted on that.
All right, so
I'm a little bit conflicted because, yeah, okay.
So it starts
You
with
go.
Larson, and he's like exploring, and then it's basically the first part of it. It's basically just like Larson going to a location.
He got knocked out.
Yeah, from he's going to
At the end
locations
of the
from
last
previous Fazbear Fright stories. So like it starts with, I believe he goes to the Into the Pit location, and he's looking around, and he sees he goes to the ball pit. He looks in, and then Eleanor comes out, and they start fighting, and Eleanor's gonna beat him, but Larson does stuff, and he beats her, and then he wakes up, and then like Eleanor, who's on the table, you know, because she was getting remnant, is now like looking a bit upset, and it basically does it like 4 or 5 times, where it's like, boom,
Yeah, it's
Larson's
like a big fight scene, like chaotic, going in and out of different realities.
Yeah,
they're
and
fighting
each
other.
time
It was kind of cool, you know.
Each time Larson beats her, each time Eleanor attacks and Larson beats her, and then the final time he just destroys her and she dies.
Well, in the other reality, but in the
Yeah,
real world,
yeah.
she's still kind of schmoovin',
Yeah, she's still
and we've
schmoovin'.
got Jake to deal with her.
Mm-hmm. So Jake goes over and like uses his super spiritual powers to like end her.
Trap her inside a bad memory, I
Mhm.
believe, is what he did.
Which, man, why did memory
And-
just
and
became
he-
so important?
Yeah, and he sort of absorbed her soul as well as part of the Stitch Wraith, but like
Mhm.
she had no power.
Yeah, so she's just stuck now, and she's gone.
Which means she had some kind of soul, which is an interesting thing to point out.
And now she's just gone. She's donezo. Poof.
Mm-hmm.
It cuts to Larson, and his life has gotten a lot better. The
He's being
change
good
from
dad.
Larson at the beginning to Larson at the end. Like in the beginning, he was like, "I don't have time for my son. I don't have time for this. Oh, everything
True.
sucks." And now he's like enjoying life again. Like the character development is insane.
Closure.
It's like, and like he goes to his son's
Wholesome
baseball
moment.
game. His son sees him and is super happy to see him. Like it's just a really good ending. And Larson is like,
But it's not done yet.
yeah, it's not done yet.
Yeah.
It cuts to Jake.
We still have
Well, it doesn't
one
cut
more
to
loose
Jake.
end.
So wait, with Larson?
No, I'm talking about Jake. We can talk about Jake now.
Okay. So it cuts to Millie from Count the Ways, and
Yeah, that
she-
was very unexpected.
like
I was like, whoa.
for Ozone. I was watching this audiobook. It flipped the page, and he was like, "Wait, did I miss something?" He's like, went back for like, "Did I miss something?" It
For a
was
whole minute, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, Millie?
yeah, it was funny.
Millie,
Silly
doesn't that
Millie.
mean that every Into the Pit story is canon, right?
Well, let's get there in a second.
We can get into that another day.
Wait.
Very canon to the Stitch Wraith.
I meant everyone is important to the Stitch Wraith. That's what I mean.
Every
every of
all
the
three
Into the
stories, yeah, all 3 stories. I would agree.
Yeah.
So basically, Millie is like lost, and then she sees a little boy. It's Jake, and he actually has his hair. It was from before he had cancer.
He had. I like how you point
Cancer.
that out. It's Jake, and he has hair.
He has hair. He wasn't the bald kid suffering from chemo. He takes her hand and he leads her to her grandparents' front door, and she opens it, and her grandparents are happy to see her, and she's super happy. And then it like zooms out, and it's a little tiny memory inside.
You could say
What?
You could say it's her happiest day.
Yes.
Yeah.
It zooms
you
out.
said the
It
thing.
zooms out, and there's a little, and it's one of the balls from the pit, and the memory is now inside the ball, and it's all happy. And then all the other balls light up from all the other happiest days, which we can assume are from all the people who died during the Fazbear Fright stories. The end.
What I freaking loved that. It was it was so
yeah.
It gives everybody
so
it gives
good.
everybody a happy ending, kind of.
The image of it is so great. I love it.
Yeah.
Like it's just like
And
glowing
the
like
connection back
stars.
to FNaF 3, the connection back to FNaF 3, it's like, oh, that's what they did with
Happiest
at
day.
FNaF 3. that's the happiest day. We know how it works now. They gathered up the good memories, and gave them what they weren't able to get, which is a happy ending, which the other Fazbear Frights characters needed, so it was their happiest days.
It's a good ending. It's
such a good ending.
I can't think of any other way they could have ended the series, actually. And from what
honestly,
I've heard,
I can think of other ways they ended it, and they were all inferior to this.
Yeah, and it explains a lot as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, oh my gosh. Okay,
all...
this is why I'm also bad at summaries. I forget details. Larson goes to Dr. Talbert, and he's like, "What is Remnant?" And we get a description of Remnant. And then he's like, "I should never have created it. Here, have this heart-shaped pendant that I made for my daughter." So the pendant that Eleanor had was really for Rennell. So he holds it up outside, and he's like, "I can hear a little song from it. I wonder what that is."
And it glows.
And it glows.
Something's gonna happen.
See, actually, I don't think so, Inky. I had a thought when I first read that. I think maybe that's Rennell's spirit possessing it. It's Rennell's remnant.
Maybe. Or it could be sequel based.
Or it could be sequel based. So, from what I've heard, Felix the Shark does not have an epilogue because it's been leaked.
Yeah, so this is the ending, at least until Tales from the Pizzaplex.
Yeah, so first of all, final thoughts on Fazbear Frights before we get Felix the Shark.
Oh my gosh, that is a weird. That's such a weird.
Well, firstly, on the epilogue, I just want to clarify. I did really, really enjoy it, and I think the ending was great as well.
Yeah,
as I said, it explains quite a lot. But I actually also thought that the Eleanor fight was kind of not anticlimactic, but short.
I guess
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
feel like it could have. I feel like it could have spun over a few epilogues.
Yeah, I agree. I think it boils down to these authors. I don't think fight scenes are their forte. We had the Afton amalgamation.
Yeah, that is true.
And that's okay, because fight scenes, like many other types of scenes, are kind of hard to write. Yeah. Especially for these because these people have been writing horror stories where there's not really a lot of fighting. It's more psychological. If there's something violent happening, it's not really a fight. It's usually more one-sided.
And you cannot fight back. None of the Fazbear Fright characters should fight back.
So what I appreciate about this quote-unquote fight scene is that it was more it was almost mental. It was almost like a psychological fight, which I think
psychological whatever fight.
Yeah. So I think it was fitting, but I do also agree. Yeah, it was a little short. It was a little.
Yeah, that's my only critical point about that. I think.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was great, and Fazbear Frights overall amazing. Mm-hmm. I cannot wait for the next series.
It was so good.
Speaking of the next series, will it be related to Fazbear Frights?
No. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, maybe we'll get a Larson mention. I don't know. He's kind of the only character that could be brought back.
Yeah.
And if he is, I don't know if I would. I don't think I would feel too bad about it. If he's got more of a story to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like, as we said, his story's kind of wrapped up.
Yeah. I feel like if they
family.
I feel like the worst thing they could do is have Larson come back just to be a character of one of the normal stories where
it would be cool though.
Where something bad happens to him and he just dies. That would be so unsettling.
Yeah, that would be the bad outcome, the bad ending.
The bad ending.
I also think it would be bad to have him just show up as oh look, cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, only bring him back if there's something he can do. If there's a story to tell. If he's got more detective work to do that overlaps with Security Breach, but still keep the character development of hanging out with his son, etc.
What about Fazgu in Tales from the Pizzaplex?
I think Fazgu should be elected president of Tales of the Pizzaplex.
Inky's come a long way. Sooner,
whatever.
Imagine Inky should just go back and reread He Told Me Everything at this point. Just do it.
No.
With your new appreciation for Fazgu.
No.
You can have fun if you're hating something.
Oh yeah, that's what I do with Fazgu. But my issues with He Told Me Everything are much greater than Fazgu.
All right. Man, I am excited for Tales of the Pizzaplex. Like,
It should be
Yeah.
cool. And it has to be canon. It has to be.
It has to be. Otherwise, otherwise, what's the point?
Otherwise, I'll destroy it.
Well, technically, Fazbear Frights are canon.
We
you
can
wanna
get
talk
into
about
that next time.
Well, also, we don't need the canonicity. The stories are fun by themselves.
Exactly.
I
do need
agree
to
with that as well.
I 100% agree
But
with that.
yeah, Fazbear Frights is over. Kind
Yeah.
of.
We got Felix the Shark and
Yay!
Ozone, you've already read it, haven't
I've
you?
got
'Cause
I've
you
got
got the
a tier
leaks.
list to update.
You get the
What
leak.
do I do?
You realize I have the entire drive full of leaks, right?
Oh, of course you do. So you already know what happens in all the Felix the Shark stories. I don't want to be spoiled.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and there's
which one
one,
goes to
there's
start?
one that you're gonna like, Psychic.
Oh boy, I can't
I
wait.
like the second one. I like the second one, Ozone. The
Oh,
meta
the second one is
commentary in
great.
that one.
Second one's
They're
We got
they're,
the- we
they're
got the
in like
names.
the special club.
we got
They're
we
in the
got
special club
yeah
now.
we got the names of them, which is Felix the Shark, the Scoop, and you're the band.
yeah.
Yo, the weekly Scoop.
Unfortunately, the names don't have much to do with them.
The
but I
scoop
won't
has nothing to
spoil
do with the
anything.
scooper. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's about the weekly
Spoilers,
Scoop.
anyway.
It's about the weekly Scoop. Let's go.
The Weekly Scoop got their own Fazbear Fright story. Let's go.
They all die. It's all.
They all died.
Okay,
yeah.
hear me out. The Scoop is about Overline, and he's dealing with hauntings after throwing Mr. Waterman in the river.
I mean, we don't know if Mr. Waterman survived. or not.
Underwater Bear Endo comes to haunt him.
No.
Underwater. Oh no! I hate that. We should wrap up this episode of the
Alright.
Darkness podcast.
Okay, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Dark Rooms podcast. Thank you, Inky and Underscore, for being here. And thank you for Ozone for actually joining. You came for the
And
best
music,
part.
man.
The music, man. You came for the best part, honestly. So yeah, I think that's it.
the part where I was here.
Prankster was
Yeah.
wait, before we end it, overall thoughts on Prankster. We didn't talk about that. Quickly, overall thoughts.
Fantastic.
Pretty good book. Pretty good book.
I would agree.
B tier.
It's a good book.
Fantastic book. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ozone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
That's
Thank
the-
you so much for watching this video, and we will see you guys next time. Goodbye!
Bye.
Peace.